societies. About the topic because initially it also creative thinking or creative ideas into how we run the Buddhist society. So I thought, okay, I'll add in both these and see what we can come up with. But I'd like to start off with this. Sorry, just need to get used to Macintosh. How come it doesn't move? Okay. All right. I think Sister Filing did mention earlier during her speech when we talk about the vision and mission of BMSM. And I think as Brother Kelvin has mentioned, are we all in line with BMSM's vision and mission? Because if we don't get that mission and vision in line, it will be very difficult for us to progress as a cohesive force. Because we must understand truly and deeply what this mission and vision is before we can continue in whatever programs we want to do. Because our programs, our activities must be aligned with this too. Otherwise, it may not work. We are just running activities. So I'd like to go on to the next slide. Okay, I think maybe will help me control. I'd just like a raise of hand. How many of you came into the Buddha Dharma because of our late Chief Reverend? Many. For very mature members who died. I would use the word very elderly, very mature. Many of us, including myself, we were influenced very directly by our beloved late chief. It is through his work. I remember when I was in Form 5, I was really looking for a religion. What religion? So I actually studied a lot and I nearly became a Jehovah's Witness member until my father stopped me. And while I was looking for various religion and reading up about all religions, including Christianity, Islam, everything, my friend said, Henry, since you're so interested in Buddhism, read this. And it's a small booklet by our late chief. What Buddhism, something about Buddhism, and I don't remember what focus on the collection. And it is through that book that they say, hey, Buddhism is a very interesting religion to be in. And when I joined UTM, I was a member of the Buddhist Society. And that continued to develop until today. So I was active since university time until today. And when I was in Teluk, my first complaint was how come Teluk has no Buddhist society? The first thing when I reached the school was, any Buddhist society in Teluk, they say no. And I said, what a lousy town. No Buddhist society one. In the end, somebody came and said, oh, presently, there's this group of people are interested about Buddhism. Would you like to join them? And I said, okay. So we went to the house. Most of us were actually strangers. We don't know each other. We only have one common thing. We are interested to learn the Dharma. That's all. So we had regular meetings in the members' house and say, cannot very high say, every day go to the same person's house for meeting. It's quite disturbing, even though the person doesn't mind. But we found that it's not fair. Then the members very great. Oh, Brother Ming, you and Brother Chong are bachelor. Why not we rent a semi-detached house? You and Brother Chong each one rent one room. So that the price of renting the house will not be that expensive. We agreed. I said, okay, since both of us are bachelor, each one take one room, 200 each, 400. I think the whole semi was 800. So the society had to do 400. But the problem was we couldn't get members. Sometimes during our Sunday service, only 2 of us, sometimes 3 of us. It's very disheartening, when you start a Buddhist society, you only see 3 fellows coming for every Sunday, sometimes 2. And if Brother Chong, my housemate, is missing maybe 1, then you think how to do puja with 1 person. But what we did was, because many of us were actually involved in the Buddhist society in the varsity, So we were in contact with many of the good speakers at that time. So we started to invite them to come. And what we did was, we actually put in flyers in the newspapers. We look at which vendor sells the most newspaper. So we printed a lot of flyers and put inside the newspaper. Each flyer will cost us 2 cents, I think. Worth it, right? 2 cents. But we put it now, of course, country, there are not many people buy newspapers. That's how we did. We put flyers inside the newspaper and we go around. And we needed to be very creative in writing our advertisement. So our topics cannot be Dhammapada or the Noble Ego Path. People won't find. So if you put something else that doesn't sound like Buddhism, but has Dharma in it, and then we have to write a small write-up. So my friend and I were in charge of writing the synopsis of the talk, so that it attracts people within less than 50 words. And this is a very important advertisement. To get people to read within 50 words and say, hey, I'm interested to come. So in order to get people to come, we must find ways to let people know, not be afraid to let people know. And we also did one thing, we follow what the Christians did. Every one of the committee members, for any talk that is on, we will call minimum 5 people. So we have 5 people to call. Each committee member will call 5 persons. And you know, sometimes we call once, they won't come. Call twice, they won't come. This fellow very troublesome. Okay, come. Right? So they come because they get irritated. Right? They get irritated. Right? You call so many times, come on, this to tease you. But it is through this type of sort of forcing, very persistent calling, that these people actually joined, and became very fantastic members. But they were reluctant in the first place. So we need to think about, let's not be ashamed to call our friends to come, because Dharma is something very good. And we can see from the members, I remember we have one member telling stories now. He was a gambler, a drinker, and a very bad-tempered guy. If his child were to drop a glass, he would straightaway slap the child. And he used to gamble and drink. He became the secretary of our Buddhist society. And then through the activities and through meditation courses that are talks that we had, he changed so much that his wife said, how come today he didn't go to Buddhist society already? Now the wife is the one that pushed him to go, because they found that he has changed so much for the better, and it was good for the family. Even the daughter once dropped the glass, and the teacher said, pick it up, sweep the floor, clean it up. No more slapping, no more scolding. You can see the change in a person simply based on the teachings. And that is what we want to look at. So the next question I would like to ask you from here is, now in the BMSM, our Buddhist Missionary Society in Malaysia, we had the word M. My question to all of you is, if our late chief, those of you who know him, fulfill his part of BMSM since he was the founder, did he fulfill the part of this missionary? Remember, we are missionaries. Sometimes my Christian friends ask me, hey, you got mission to promote Dhamma. When you use the missionary and you don't convert people. You don't convert people, but you use missionary is a very like a wrong term for it. But here is not so much to convert people. It's more of to let people know about the Dharma. Our late chief do a very good job. Many of us were influenced by him. And what about the vision we have? The vision that we have in our BMSM. Did our late chief also achieve that mission? All of them who don't seem will say definitely a yes. Now, of course, the question we have to ask then is, why was the late chief such a successful missionary? Why was he so successful? Whereas we have many Buddhist temples before. But you would have realized those of us were under his era, during his era. You know that this temple has attracted a lot of people. A lot of people were just gathered. Just imagine every Sunday during Chief Reverend's time. It's full. Even in the shrine hall where we did our puja, you have to go outside. Not enough space for you inside. You have to go outside even. That was how great the attraction our late chief had. So now let's go to the next question. How can we achieve this? Now let's look at why our late chief was very successful. Number one, he dared to be different. If you were to read his biography, I think late chief I've mentioned before, when he first came to Malaysia, people wanted him to speak only in Sinhalese because he was a Sri Lankan temple. But what did late chief say? Late chief said, no. If I'm in Malaysia, if I were to speak in Sinhalese, I might as well go back to Sri Lanka. So he insisted on speaking in English. That's how the English-speaking community, Buddhist community, came about. Because before him, it was very, very difficult to get Dharma in English. But it is because of him, through his talks, through his books, we managed to get Dharma in English. So he dared to be different. Another different thing, I remember it was mentioned by Dr. Sri, Dr. Mitali. He wanted to attract the youth. And they suggested, why not we do hymn singing? And they approached our late chief and said, we'd like to do hymn singing. Late chief agreed, but the committee members in Breakfast Temple disagreed. Can you sing in the temple? No, you're breaking the tradition. How can this be like a pop concert place? But we said, no, if you want to attract the youth, and youth like singing, why not? It is a vehicle to promote the Dharma. He dared to be different. So that's why we had a lot of hymn singing. Of course, recently somebody told Dato Sri, Dato Sri, now your hymn songs are cool already. Nobody wants to sing anymore, except people like us. Right? Still the old one. But basically, it's because of our late chief being daring to be different. That's why the things became such a successful place, such a magnet for Buddhists to go. Second, he was very active in giving Dharma talks. Even until the last day, I think, I don't know whether just now Dato' Ang did mention, even the last day before he passed away, when somebody wanted to meet him, he still said yes. He promoted the Dharma just like the Buddha until the very last moment, still okay. How many of us are willing to say, oh yeah, today I'm not very well, no need to go. Today a bit busy, no need to go. But look at what late chief did. I mean, he's our greatest role model. That until even his last breath, Dharma was still very strong in him. He still wants to go on. And the next very important one is he was also a very prolific writer. Look at how many Dharma books we have written. One of our, we can consider our Bible is what Buddhists believe, isn't it? So anybody who wants to learn about Buddhism, that's the easiest way to learn. Simple in the language, and then very profound in the teaching. So if anybody wants to learn about Buddhism, you can just introduce them to what Buddhists believe as the starter. Right? Of course, nowadays, many youngsters don't like to read. The senior members say, I got eyesight problem. All right. And recently, I was talking to a very young Buddhist girl, and I said, what do your youngsters actually want? I said, yeah, anything in internet, either in TikTok, YouTube, more than 1 minute, they won't go. Anything more than 1 minute. So can you imagine trying to teach the Dharma in 3 minutes, whereas they are only patient for 1 minute? And somebody has done the research. It seems you can do the YouTube and check the YouTube Dharma speakers and all this, how long people watch. If you have a 1 hour Dharma talk on YouTube, most people will listen only for 5-10 minutes, then they turn off. Although you may have many views, many people turn off after 5 minutes. So these are the challenges we are facing nowadays. And therefore we need to be more creative. We have to be more daring in the way we plan our program, we plan our training. If we use the olden ways, it may work for us last time. That's why we need to always ask the youngsters. And the youngsters, there are many youngsters today, very good. Please let us know what do you all really want. Because if you ask us, we will tell you what you want. And what we tell that you want won't be what you want. So it's not, if you don't, please don't let us be the one to think what you want. Be honest to tell us what you want. And then we see what we can do to help you to achieve what you want. And it must be balanced with the Dharma. And that is very important. Sometimes people ask me why I have been in the Dharma teacher work for so long. Very simple answer. It affected my life in a very, very positive way. And it's time to give back. I always tell people, if you have not tasted durian and people tell you how nice durian is, you won't know how good it is until you taste. Although I don't take durian. Right? So I can tell, but I have taken durian before, so I know. Right? The only reason why I stopped was I had a very bad experience, and from that time onwards I stopped. Likewise, if you are not into Dharma, you won't know how good and how fantastic Dharma is until you lose it. This is a very important message I like to read. You will never know how good Dharma is until you know it. And you will know how important it is after you lose it. I lost it for a short while when I got married. And my life became very empty. Because suddenly I concentrated more on my family, on my work, and I neglected Dharma for a while. And that actually created something very empty in me. Life became less meaningful. Yes, I'm living a good life. I was living a good life. Right? But there is something that is missing. Something that makes you feel happy. Not the happiness you get from your job, not the happiness that you get from your family, but the happiness that comes inside. That is missing when you miss the Dharma. So we have to look into, can I now reconcile my Dharma, my practice, with my good life, with my family life? I think recently, during one of the meditation retreat, somebody asked Ayasma, Maria, Tamika, is there such a thing as a balance between spiritual practice and Dharma practice? Guess what was his answer? His answer was a no. You can't balance the two. So every time you talk about balancing spiritual practice and Dharma practice, it's like two conflicting things. But he said one thing, you are not monks or nuns. Therefore, you cannot live a life 100% with Dharma alone. But what you can do is live with the Dharma. Use the Dharma as the guide to your life. You say for Buddhists, very simple, 5 precepts only what? Not easy to do, not the 5 precepts. I always find it difficult to do the 4th precept. Gossiping lah, wasting time talking nonsense lah. It's very entertaining. It's very entertaining. But I like to gossip, talk about politics, right? Talk about this politician no good, that politician no good. But they're not doing anything beneficial except letting go frustration. But if you live your life according to the Dharma, you live your life working in accordance with the Dharma, then you are actually following the Dharma. So it's not that you must fulfill everything must be with Buddhism. I remember once when we were in the Vasapi, during that time, every Sunday you see UPM, USM, UPM, UN, UTM, students will go to Brickhill Temple. And some of the students were so active, they stayed back until late evening. So one day, our late chief told them, are you monks? Then the students looked at our late chief and said, no, we are here to help the temple. Then the late chief asked them again, you monks? No. Then what are you doing here? Why did late chief again? Are you monks? If you are not monks, why are you here? Until so late in the evening. If you are a very practical person, then yes, okay.
but he will neglect your studies and he fail your studies. You will have time to think about the Dharma later. You'll be having problems thinking about, I get my job, I get paid, my social life is paid or not. You'll be so worried, I can't contribute much. So what the kids told them was, make sure you do well with your studies.
It's nice to help out in the temple, but you must also know where is your limit, because you need to study also. You see, our late chief didn't say, wow, very good. If you can help her until midnight, also okay. Because that would be a very bad advice. You were students, so they need to study also. They need to pass their exam, they need to get a good job, and things like that. So late chief was not only wise, he was also very kind and considerate. And this is where it comes to the part of our mission. Sorry, where is the next one? Before that. Okay, I've done this, can go to the next one. So now, in any Buddhist society, in BMSM itself, we have to ask ourselves the first question. All of you are probably committee members. Some of you are future committee members. And we have to ask ourselves, even the committee members, what skills do we need? You cannot just be a committee member and say, okay, I become the secretary. If you don't have language proficiency, your listening ability, how can you write the minutes properly? Organization. Right? We also need to have some social interaction. How do we cater for the needs of the committee member in terms of social needs? Sometimes it's recognition, sometimes it's just an acknowledgement, thank you for the job done. Right? What about our emotional needs? All of us have certain issues with our lives, with our work, with our family, and this can affect how much we can contribute to the society. If you have problems with your family, you think you can contribute well to your society? You can't. If you have problems with your work, do you think you can contribute to society? You can't. So if we have these type of problems, how can we become effective, happy committee members? So we have to ask ourselves, so besides serving the society, how can we also help ourselves? Then our contribution to the society will be more meaningful, more pleasurable. Let's work happily, not because my friend asked me, okay lah, I do lah, cincai lah, I got time now lah, or like me, retired already, okay lah. That was my first reason why I took up BMSM era. So happened just retired when somebody asked, would you like to help to form the Buddhist Society BMSM in Perak? I said, okay, retired man, nothing much to do. Okay. Then later only got so much problem. So you see, sometimes we go in without really realizing why are we in there for. But if we have a purpose, a target, personal and societal, then our service to BMSM will be more meaningful. And that is very important. Not only it must be meaningful to the members, it must also be meaningful to us. So we have to work on this if we want to do a program, for example, like this. Right? Communication skills. And one of the problems we have is for KL slang, or probably they have no issues with Dharma speakers. But for other states, you may have problem with Dharma speakers. In Tolonitan, what we did when we first started was, we make every committee member to speak. And the committee member said, my Dharma so shallow. No, not qualified. Qualified or not qualified. These are the 10 topics, choose one. So we made every committee member take one. If you don't like the 10 in the list, choose your own. But you must choose one. That's what we did. And what happened was, yes, when they shared their idea, when they shared their Dharma knowledge from the reading. In fact, if they say you don't know how to speak, we give them the book. Take from this book. Take from here. Provide the resources. So they have no excuse. Yeah, I don't know where to get material. We provide the material. Since you don't know, we provide for you. Right? But what happened was they were more afraid of the Q&A. What happens if the member asks me a question that I cannot answer? Cannot answer, say don't know. Very simple one. Cannot answer, say don't know. Then what do we do with the questions that they cannot answer? We write them down. We keep them as a record. So when a Bante comes or a very good speaker comes, we pass it to our audience are very shy one, the last question. So we pass to the audience, the committee member. After when they say Q&A, you answer, you ask. So we make the committee members to be the initiator of asking questions. Once one person asks, the rest will follow up. I remember when I was in the St. George, we had a dance. Person still can dance, right? So we had a dance ball night or something like that. My chairman said, Beng, I don't care whether you can dance or not. After this, you go and find one girl to dance. If you don't dance, then nobody there will come out. So I also very shy with girls. Like, oh, can you please dance with me? So scared, Scared the girl say, dance with you, I'm sorry. Malu me. But that's what happens. You need somebody to start off something. And when you start off like, okay, if you can't answer the question, we keep the questions for future speakers to come. We pass the questions to them. It solves the problem. And in that way, we train people to share the Dharma, whatever little you may know. And please remember this, the moment you start to share the Dharma, you improve your own knowledge. You have to learn more before you can share. So in a way, you're also helping yourself, besides helping the society, you're also helping yourself to learn deeper about the Dharma. Because sometimes when you read something, hey, this one I'm not so sure. You may ask somebody, or you may refer to other books. Therefore, you're actually learning. So we need to also have, for committee members, maybe public speaking skill. Let the people know how to speak in public. Of course, some people, like some of the members are teachers. They say, teachers no problem. Teachers also got problem. Teachers only speak to children, But when it comes to speaking to adults, it's a different story. I used to laugh at my wife and say, sometimes she has to conduct assembly. I assembly only, So different, behind me, teacher and promoter, in front of me, few hundred students. Classroom of each student only, There is a lot of difference. All right, there is a lot of difference between speaking to a classroom of students, to an adult audience, or to people who may be more knowledgeable than you. Now, some of you who sit here may be much more knowledgeable than any one of us speakers. So we will like, hey, not, we bluff through our way. But sometimes we have to bluff through our way. When you talk a little bit, you have to take the story and then see what happens. But that's how we learn. That's how we learn. It's good for us. Right? Another thing, of course, is committee meetings. How many of us, or how many people actually conduct effective committee meetings? Must be ways to communicate. Sometimes we go around 1-2 hours of a meeting and then in the end also don't know what it's all about. We just conclude, okay, we have done a meeting regulation, ROS requirement. But we have not done anything effectively. So maybe we should also learn, have a program on how do we communicate effectively, efficiently during a committee meeting. Because I think sometimes we sit in our committee and then we again another committee meeting. How long? 3 hours. 3 hours more. We find we have better things to do. So we are reluctant to come for meetings. So if we can learn ways to conduct meetings, and it's not necessarily about the chairperson, right? It's not necessarily about the chairperson. I'm sure you've heard of John Maxwell, a guru in business and all this. He says, if you want to know who is the leader in the committee, don't look at the title. Look at the person who they always refer to. So let's say, I suggest that maybe for this year, we do our 24 Ometa in Perak. Wow. Then I'm the chairman. Then everybody turn to Brother Liao. Brother Liao, what do you think? Who is the real leader? Brother Liao, not me. Even though I suggested, everybody asked him, Brother Liao, what do you think? So he didn't need to have a title to be the leader or not. Because he's the most senior, the most experienced, the more that is very, very calm and steady in thinking one. So people will go to him, hey, brother, we are talk much only lah. Pandai cakap, tak tahu buat punya. Right? So they won't refer to, even though I may be the chairperson, but people will not refer to me because this fellow only know how to talk. Right? No point one. Right? Then they refer to somebody else. And that is the leader. So the leader doesn't have to have a title, a portfolio. It can be even a committee member. Let me ask uncle first. Or sometimes in the family, Daddy, can I go for camping? Ask your mommy. Who's the boss in the house? Mommy. All right? The mommy is the boss in the house. Ask Daddy, no point one, because mommy can overrule Daddy. So you must know who is the actual leader. Okay? So now the thing is, we also have to ask ourselves, we are in the committee. What are we here for? To fill up the post? Or to play a very important, significant role? Are we here just to fill up the post? If you find that you are here to fill up the post, like what Brother KL has mentioned now, you may end up having burnout. Because you have no meaning in your post. You have no purpose in why are you in the committee member, just because somebody dragged you in. Just because I say your friend called you so many times and come in. But we must come in with a true purpose. I want to serve. And I want to serve happily. It's very important that when we join a society, we serve it with purpose and with happiness. Then you will enjoy. Imagine people like Brother Liao, Brother Kialim, myself, more than 40 years in the Dhamma to tell work. Still much happen out lucky. But it's hard, because sometimes you get a lot of criticism. Sometimes people don't appreciate what you do. Sometimes you shouldn't be doing this. You need to overcome all these kind of things. And because you know you're doing something good, you will remain. Because you know you're doing something useful, helpful, it benefited you, therefore it should be propagated and should be passed down. And once you have that kind of mission in you, then you will be able to work much, much better. That's why, can I go back to the earlier slides? Okay, another one. Okay, let's look at the mission. To cultivate and be the Dharma Duta for service, purity, and mission. Our mission is to touch life. Remember, touching life is not about telling people about the Dharma. Touching life is all about embracing the Dharma in your own life. You must be the epitome of the Dharma. People look at you and people will say, oh, so he's a Buddhist. People can see you as a Buddhist. I'll give you an example. The people from Perak will know. I've given this example before. Right? Two things happened almost 30 years apart, but same issue. First one, when I was in UTM, we have the orientation. And the senior members, the senior students came and orientated me. And he said, I want you to do this. It was something that I find very indecent. Something that I'm not willing to do. So I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Said, no, you have to do it because it's our demand for you during this orientation. I mean, whatever you do, I will not do it. You can ask me to behave like a monkey can. You can ask me to be whatever can, but I'm not going to do anything that is decent. And guess what? The member asked me later, why are you so insistent not to do it? Are you a Christian? And I was like, do I have to be a Christian to be morally upright? And the best part was, the person who asked me to do the indecent act was a committee member of the UTM Buddhist Society. Interesting. The next one was during my work life. My head of department asked me to do something which I found to be very, very unethical. And I refused to do it. And he said, kalau you tak buat, saya akan lakukan you kepada pengarah. And I said, teruskan, nak lapu-lapu lah. Nak turunkan pangkat saya, turunkanlah pangkat. Nak hentikan gaji saya, hentikanlah. Tapi saya tak akan buat. Jadi kalau you nak rapu sampai menteri pun, okay. So when I came out, people heard about this, that I was going against my head of department for something very unethical. And the Muslim friends, my colleagues came to me and said, wait, kalau you berani lawan ketua jabatan, you ni orang Kristian. Now, why does this happen that people think if you are ethical, you are a Christian? Can't Buddhists be ethical? Can't Buddhists hold strongly to their morals? And then that is where we have to ask ourselves, as Buddhists doing all the good things, do people know that they are Buddhists? I used to meditate in the office because I go to the office early. And one day, my friend asked me, malam-malam you buat apa? Kenapa kita pagi pun ni letih tidur punya? Saya bukan tidur, saya ada samadhi. Apa itu samadhi? One day I told them I'm going for my meditation retreat. And my colleague asked me, wait, selepas you buat meditasi, you boleh terbang. So my answer to them was very simple. Kalau saya boleh terbang, esok saya bawa pakai sepeda merah kat luar. Jadi Superman. You see the misunderstanding people have. And it is our duty to actually reflect us as Buddhists. These are what we do, these are our practice. And in my office, my table, I have the 5 precepts. So everybody who comes to my table will see the 5 precepts. An announcement that I am a Buddhist. We have to show, you see the Christians, they wear their cross, they put their pictures of Jesus, and we all do what? Do nothing. So we need to show the people we are proud to be Buddhist, not the arrogant way. When you know I'm a Buddhist or not? They don't know. Oh, so all you can do, boleh pakai. But in a very quiet manner, show to them that we are okay with our Dharma practice or something. Or just like my Hindu friends used to ask me, Dr. Lee, or Dr. Lee, why are you always smiling? And another friend said, you always do meditation, right? That's why it's smiling. People can see, whatever you practice, whatever you do, people will notice it. And then that's when people will ask you very curiously, what are you practicing? And this can also be made to be Buddhist. So we have to touch lives through not only the Dharma, it must come through our words and our action. What we do, people will respect us for who we are. And then if people ask them, they say, I'm a Buddhist. I have one friend, I don't know one of you have heard of him, Chong Hang Yen. You heard of Chong Hang Yen? He was my housemate, the one that stayed with me, he should pay 200 no, he was a salesman. Normally salesmen will have to do what? Go for entertainment, drink, serve, help in the pub and whatever with the customers, clients. But he will always tell people, I will only order orange juice or plain water. People will laugh at me, you don't respect me. Or they say, right? Don't drink one more. Say, no, I'm a Buddhist. I follow the 5 precepts. I won't take liquor. I will only take plain water or orange juice. Guess what? He was the best salesman in his company for don't know how many years. Top sales. Until he can tell the boss, I don't want to be promoted, increase my gaji. And I want 500 agreement. The boss just gave him straight away. When the boss wanted to promote him, what did he say? Please don't promote me, because if you promote me, I got no time to do my Dharma work. How many of you dare to say this? Don't promote me, because if you promote me, I got no time to do my Dharma work. That's what he did. That's what he did. And when the boss people still no handphone, so they had a telephone in the house landline. And the company told him, all right, we will subsidize 150 ringgit for your telephone line. He told the company, no need, I only need 30 ringgit. 120 I pay myself. Why? Because 120 is called Dharma because he spent most of his telephone calling Dharma speakers. So if you pay me 130 or 150, I'm only using about 20, 30 ringgit of the company's money for company's purposes. Now, that is the kind of Buddhist that they look at him and say, oh, big. He openly tells the boss. So these are the kind of things that we have to look into, touching lives. And the people who work under with him all pay him very high respect because he stuck to his principle. I won't do it, right? Because I'm a Buddhist. So it is through service, purity, he worked until today. Now, Zhong Hanyan is a tourist guide for pilgrimage, Chinese version, right? So not advertise for him lah. You want to go Tibet lah, India lah, Sri Lanka lah, and you want a Chinese speaking guide, he is one person you can go to, right? So he works only among the Chinese speaking group of Buddhist pilgrimage, and he go forward. How much time do I have? I have what is known as Bingoria, a term my friend gave. Still don't know how to stop one. Okay, next one. So I think as humans, we have to understand this Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's our late librarian Ross, he says the first few needs are very personal needs. But we also need psychological needs. We need people to recognize us. We need people to acknowledge us. So even if among our Buddhist community members, when they've done a good job, praise them. Don't think it's your job to do, but it's not their job to do, right? So if you find somebody has done something good, just acknowledge that good. But if somebody tells you you've done a good job, please don't reject also. Now, your Chinese are very good, I don't know. Well, we are also very humble in that sense. But sometimes when people praise us or appreciate us, just say a simple thank you. You don't have to say, don't ever do that. But just say a simple thank you to acknowledge people's acknowledgement, to appreciate that people appreciate you. But you don't have to be arrogant about it. But we need that. We don't need to reject people's praise, people's appreciation. We need that, right? So once we meet that part, like I said, when we do our Dhamma Tuta work, are we at the state of self-fulfillment? Are we in the stage that we say, I'm doing it because it's something very fulfilling for me. It is very meaningful for me. Rather than it's just another responsibility. Because if we take it as something fulfilling, then we will work in a much happier mindset. Because it's fulfilling for us. When you see people improve, then you find, hey, good through Dharma. No, many in PPHP in Teluk Intan, how do we attract young members? Free tuition. Physics, chemistry, maths. I taught physics. Free. But free, tak boleh jalan. People come and go. You don't appreciate it because they're not paying for it. But we don't want to charge very high fees for it. So what we did was, from 5 students, we charge 7 ringgit. Upper 6 students, we charge 10 ringgit. We also have another thing, motivational classes. But it comes with a condition. 1 hour Dharma before motivation. So they have no choice other to sit down to listen to Dharma for 1 hour because they are more interested in the motivation. So they have to dive through, sit never mind, wait for that 1 hour first. But later when they join into this manner, what they found was that, hey, Dharma very good. Dharma is so useful. And many of the youths that joined because of the motivational classes and so on, in the end, became Buddhist Society leaders. If I'm not mistaken, the Putrajaya Buddhist Society president was one of my students, also from the Buddhist Society. We developed through this way. And I know many of them are still involved in many Buddhist societies nowadays. And the one in Teluk Intan now, many of them actually came back to Teluk Intan to serve the Buddhist Society in Teluk Intan. So they are now the committee members, all very young only, 30-something, 40-something. Because they found it so useful for the programs that was run by the society. And this is what we need to think. What are the things useful for the youth if we want to attract youth? Not what Dharma can be given to you. Dharma can come later. But what is useful to them must come first. Then only we talk about them. Once they are attracted to this, then they will stay on and say, hey, Buddhist society do something. And another thing we attracted, besides the students, the parents. When the parents bring the students, they got nothing to do, they will stay there. And they also sometimes listen because they stay there. And that's how we attract parents to come because of their children. So we have to look into all these things. It's like this. So for personality needs, if you look at the Abraham Maslow of hierarchy, we have certainty, we need to have a very stable place, variety, we need to have more variety in our activities, not just Dharma talk. Dharma talk is important. We cannot run away from that because we are a Buddhist society, but we need variety in the activities that we carry out, right? Now, one of the things, like for example, for you in Telintang, what they did was, they will use Dharma and ask for students after the youth camp to do a play. So they will do a sketch for 15 minutes based on certain Dharma verses. So they will dress up, light of the Buddha, they will dress up with newspapers and plastic. And then they will perform life history of the Buddha. So you can actually add variety to what you do. And of course, whatever we do, it must be significant. We must have an impact. If BMSM just carry out activities, but it has no impact for the people that we carry out the activities, then we have not achieved anything. People just come for the activities. All right? And of course, love is very important. Connection, as Brother K.L. Lim has mentioned, very important. The personal touch involved. And of course, there must be growth. We must see changes in the members when they come. First, they come reluctantly, then they come more often. First, they listen to Dharma, then they suddenly say, I want to go for meditation. We see a gradual growth in them. But don't frighten them. First time, come for 2 weeks, when you want to go for meditation. Right? Not many people can do that. And some people are very impatient. They think they can do fantastic things with meditation. Right? So we have to be very careful. Once we had a member went for a meditation course, came back, I hate the world. I want to renounce now. I want to become a monk. And we all like, oh. Then he suddenly became that. And the whole thing turned very negative, instead of having a positive effect, because his knowledge of the Dharma was still very shallow. That made him have a very different view about what is life all about. He said, yeah, it is true, suffering only, I suffer a lot. Right? So they can take it to the extreme end, so we have also to be very careful with what we introduce to the youngsters, to the children who are working. All right? Can I have the next slide, please? So significance is very important, variety is very important. We go up. When they have that, like you to look at this figure. All right. Next one, please. I wonder how many of you have seen this picture before. Now, let's look at this circle. From the outside, the whole lot is the yet Buddhists. Sometimes they come for our activities and then they disappear. We had many of these when we started the Telintang Buddhist Society. They only come for Vesak. Now that is disappear. Right? Then the following year you see them again, then they disappear. They are there but not there. They just come for the ceremony, nothing else. Then we have the activity Buddhists. But New Year, Moon Day, gathering, they come. Then they disappear. These are the people that come only for activities. Dhamma talk, sorry lah, no time. Right? Got things to eat, come lah. Right? Got free food, got come lah. Right? For some, I know, there are some that come, young one, come and look for partner. Well, this must be good, all right? So see that future partner can get on. Yes, that's what happened. In church also the same things happen. They go and look for partner. Right? Go to church, must be good. Go for Buddhist activity, it must be good. So when right? They may come for this. Then we have the active Buddhists. Many of you are active Buddhists. We do a lot of things for our Buddhist society. Buddhist. Then we have the not even the target is core Buddhist. Not H-A-R-D, H-E-A-R-T, right? Hardcore Buddhists can be extremists, right? We don't want that. We want people who live, breathe by the Dharma. These are the people that takes the Dharma to their heart. So regardless of what happens, how people criticize them, people talk about them and so on, they still remain. For example, me, hardcore one. My wife is a Christian, right? Before I married her, I told her I have one condition. Whatever you do, you cannot convert me. Listen, so I said, although I want to marry you very much, but if you want to convert me, sorry, bye-bye. Can you accept that or not? Right? If you can accept that, then okay, I will marry you. But if you cannot accept, bye-bye, I look for another one. She had to think very hard, Oh, this fella, I want to marry, but refuse to convert. How? Then she went and asked a friend, a Christian friend. You should think carefully, think carefully. Wow, taking you away from to Satan already. Right? So think carefully. But she still cannot decide. Nice guy, man. So cannot decide. Case of all the people later she asked me, she asked my brother. My brother is a Christian. She asked my brother, as a Christian, I like your opinion. Do you think I should marry your brother who refused to be a Christian? Guess what was my brother's answer? As a Christian, you shouldn't marry. Such a wonderful brother. Fantastic brother. He didn't say, oh, my brother is a very nice guy, he will be a good husband. Because he's not a Christian, don't marry him. Wow. Can you see or not? Sorry. Oh, then my wife, the last question we asked was Zheng Han because he was still my housemate. So he asked my friend Zheng Han, should I marry your friend or not? What's your opinion? My friend didn't say anything. Yes, he's a good Buddhist, you must marry him. No, my friend just say, you and him same school, well, that's how we met. But look at how he treated his student. He treated his student all like his own children. So do you think next time he'll be a good father or not? Okay, wow. Okay, right? So in the end, okay. So now she's still a Christian and still a Buddhist. All right. So Sunday she goes to church, Sundays I go to Buddhist society. Right? But we live a very peaceful life because the important thing is learning to respect, learning to accept, not trying to change. All right. This is very important. But so even recently when I went to my wife's church and they talk about Buddhism, I spent the whole night talking about Buddhism to the Christians. And my wife said, how can you talk about Buddhism in the church? So they say the wrong thing about Buddhism, I must correct, man. So they give me the opportunity to correct them. I didn't ask for it. They go and say, oh, we have a committee member, last time a Buddhist, a temple committee member, now a Christian. Are you sure he's a Buddhist? I mean, honestly, you're a committee member of a Buddhist temple doesn't mean you're a Buddhist. So are you sure you're a Buddhist? No, he does that. I said, no, Buddhists don't do that. Then one whole night, lecturing at the fellow. So I mean, we have to be proud, even when we go somewhere, even when I talk to Muslims, I will tell them about Buddhism. I said, ada kali tahu ini tak betul. We need to let people know what is our real practice. And not just keep quiet when people say something that is not correct about our own religion. We have our beauty. Can we have the next one? How many of you from Penang? Are you all involved with Mahim Dharma? Now, this was something that I discovered 3 days ago. I didn't know I had this. Mahindrama Buddhist Temple in 2000, can you go to the next slide? If I'm not mistaken, in 2002, or 12. Okay, 2002 had the course for committee members. And I find it to be very useful. Can I have my computer back?
There's a file there. Can you please take it up? Yes. Okay. Sorry,
Interruption for a while. I was trying to throw away many things. I'm now getting old already. It's time to throw things, not to keep things. So while I was throwing away some of the useless papers that I have, like notes and so on, I came across these booklets. These booklets, they're from Mahindra. So what you have in the booklet, can you go to the next slide, please? We call it Buddhist life cycles, circles. And they focus on two things for training committee members. One, relationship building. Two, creating healthy communities. What is so wonderful is I didn't have time to go to print, to retype. They have PowerPoints. And in the PowerPoint for each of the categories that they want to achieve, they have their specific training. So let's go to the specific one they have. The next slide, please. All right. Next one, please. Okay. Altogether, they have 7 books, 7 training modules. Introduction of life circles, why life circle is important. Formation of core development teams. So even for the team itself, they need to look for people that are suitable. Then they have another module on developing strategies, another module on youth development, which I find is very, very important. Cell activities, some societies are doing it, caring and counseling, and then also organizational review. They even have a score sheet, and I didn't bring the score sheet. For this activity, 1 to 10, how much have they achieved after 1 year? So they have their own score sheet to decide how well they have performed whatever task they are doing. So it gives a very detailed one. Later, if you want, when I go back, I may sort of rearrange this again with the permission. Anybody has contact with Mahindra? Because I need to get their permission to actually share with you all. It's their work. So if they can, or maybe I will try to contact Mahindra, get their permission, then I reproduce them and share in the group later. So you can look at how, sorry, you can. Good, Brother Kelly can contact. Right. So once it is done, maybe I pass this to you, Brother Kelly. I pass this to you. Right? You can have a look at them and see how they actually create modules to train committee members to develop strategies and programs. And I think this is very important for us, like what Brother Kelly, sometimes we are all not focused on everyone doing their own thing. So let us have something that we can all focus on. We may not adapt everything they want that they have, but we see what is suitable for BMSM we use. But we need their permission because it's their work, right? So this is something I found very useful. I think I have kept this for 20 years without taking it out. I remember I got it when I was in third intern. During one of our meetings and all this, somebody just say, hey, Brother, you want this is not very useful. I even have the Christian version of how to preach. The one my brother wanted to throw away, I said, give me, I want to give. They have all their strategies, even for things like if you cannot form a Buddhist society in a school, what can you do? We don't have that. I tried to form a Buddhist society in my ITG. My Buddhist society was underground, illegal. But the Christians, they have steps. If you cannot get approval from the school level, this is what you can do this. If this also cannot get, this is what you can do next. So they have a very, what do you call that, strategic ways of getting approval to form a Buddhist society or form a Christian group. We don't have that. We need to have something like this because one of the things that we should be looking into is schools. Can we form Buddhist societies in schools? When I found mine in Teluk Intan, when I first went to Teluk Intan, the school don't have Buddhist society. I went to see my principal. Can I form a Buddhist society here? And he straight away said yes. I was so shocked. All right. So what happened that night? One of the teachers' parent passed away. So I went for the wake, and he was sitting beside me, my principal, and I said, Mr. Luna, are you a Buddhist or not? And he said, why do you ask this question? This morning I asked you, can I form a Buddhist society? Straight away you say yes or no rejection, no need to think one. Then he said, must I be a Buddhist to approve a Buddhist society? Good answer. So I don't know whether he's a Buddhist or not, but at least he approved the Buddhist society in the school. We form a few in Intan Buddhist societies in school, but for the SK, SMK school, very difficult. So we have also to look into this. Can we find a way to get that? Because as far as I know, the Muslim group, they are going into IPGs. Only they have what is known as Yatim, Yayasan Muda, Dakwah Islam Muda. I went for one of their interfaith talk, and their target, we want to form Muda Islam group in every IPG and every school. Just imagine every teacher that goes out from IPG is a pendakwah. It's no joke, you know. So it's going in now already to Akola, and there are 27 IPGs in Malaysia. So that's how they move. So we have also to think about, can we move the youth? Like for example, now maybe the universities, private colleges and all this. So to dig into all these issues. So how much more time do I have?
Additional 50 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I have idea one. All right. This is the kind of evaluation that Mahindrama gave. And look at their target. All means non-Buddhist, new Buddhist, long-time Buddhist, potential Buddhist leaders. So they look into all these groups of people and see how can we approach them. Meaning to say, we cannot approach everybody the same way. We cannot say, I only want to teach Dharma to you. We cannot do that. We have to find ways to move into their world first. Remember touching lives? To touch life? Touch life does not necessarily start from the Dharma, but we start with the Dharma in our heart. Go into their heart. As teacher, we have one phrase, a phrase that I always use. Students will never learn until they know. The student doesn't care how much they know until they know how much you care. I think that is a very wonderful statement for teachers. I repeat it. Students will not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So the caring part must come first before you can actually teach students in the school. That's what I always emphasize. Because if you cannot touch their hearts, you cannot touch their lives. You have to touch their hearts first. That's what the Christians do very well. They touch your heart first. I remember one member in the Buddhist society, he was crying in the hostel. He related to me later. Buddhist society member crying in the hostel because he couldn't cope with the condition in the hostel. He was crying alone. No Buddhist member approached him. One Christian went to him and said, hello, brother. What's the problem? How can I help you? Cultivate. Oh, just like that. No need to say anything. Would you like to come to my church? Would you like to join me? If you know Christ, if you know Jesus, then you'll be saved, you go to heaven. No need to say all these things. Just, hello, brother. I see you have a problem. How can I help you? Cultivate. Not even one word of Jesus. Not even one word of church. That's how, if we want to be effective as Dharma teachers, we must touch people's heart. Without that, we cannot go very well. And this is where, although we talk so much about metta, we seldom exhibit them out. We have to exhibit this out rather than just talk about Buddhism is about metta, Buddhism is about karuna, but no action. Right? It doesn't work. Let's go to the next one. I have to work. Now, I would recommend these to people. These two books. Games People Play by Dr. Eric Berger. This is about human character. And the word they use, games people play, because all of us play social games. For example, if brother, may I know your name? Una, right? Una, you're so handsome. And then, but now he say thank you. Maybe he will say, or somebody else, for example, say, no lah, you more handsome lah. I say not handsome. Then I say, no, 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 you are handsome. No lah, I'm not handsome. You more handsome. In terms of everyone's age, you will play. He is not trying to be humble. He's trying to make me praise him more. So by rejecting my praise, I have to praise him more. Yes, now you're more handsome. Wow, how many times already just now? 3 times already. No. So it's not humility, you know. So games people think is about this kind of social interaction. For example, if I ask whether you're Brother, what do you think of this? Do we think we should have more youth activities? Yes. To bring more youth into Buddhism, to bring more youth to Buddhism. Your idea for Brother is very good. I think it cannot work one. Because you're not interested in Dharma there. This is called the yes but game. I ask for your opinion as if I'm very democratic, but then I shoot you down with my bus. Some people do that, isn't it? They shoot you down with the bus. They ask for opinion, pretending to be democratic, but then they shoot whatever you want to say. In the end, he wants his own opinion to be the one accepted. So when you study books like this, games people play, then you will be able to understand human character better. Not to judge them, but to understand them. The next one is, I find it one of the best public speaking books. You've got to believe to be heard. This is my policy all over. Even when I accepted this talk, I must ask myself, do I believe everything that I say now? Because if I don't believe what I say, I just take it as a talk that I have to prepare. I will not be effective in that sense. Because I cannot believe what I say. So if you want to let people know, you want to show the people Dharma is important, are you reflecting the importance of Dharma in your own life? If you say Dharma is very good, Buddhism is very good, is it reflected in your own life, in your own speech, in your own action? If it is not, you cannot convince people Dharma is good. For my students used to complain, sir, besides physics and Dharma, what else can you talk about? I only speak of two things with my students, either physics or Dharma. So my students always ask, sir, besides these two, anything else or not? Nothing else. I'm only interested in these two, Dharma and Buddhism, and Dharma and physics. I have other things to talk to me. It's in my life in that way. So people can see Dharma is in me. I believe in it 100, you can say 110%, 110%, 120%, 120%. I have to believe that Dharma is worth it, it's good, it is fantastic, it brings a lot of good to me before I can convince other people it's good to them also. So can you reflect in your own speech and action that Dharma is really in you and it benefits you, it serves you to be a better person? If you can do that, you need a lot of Dharma talks. People will ask you, why are you like that? I get a lot of these questions from people who are non-Buddhists. Why are you like that? So they are very curious. Why are you behaving this way? Then that's the time to talk. That's the time to talk. Explain, because of Dharma, because of this, in Buddhism we do this. If they ask. But also you have to watch out their body language. If suddenly they turn their head away and stop talking, that means they're not interested anymore. So you must also be very aware of the body language of the person you're talking to. But sometimes you talk too much, people won't listen. Right? So I hope you're still listening. When I give courses and all this, I tell people, saya tahu you sangat malu, segan beritahu saya, tolong berhenti, sudah cukup masa. So I told them, you all are very polite people. What you can do is, if I have talked too much, look at your watch. Very polite way to tell, and your time stop lah. Don't talk too much. So I tell my audience most of the time when I give talks, conduct courses, because many people are shy to tell the speaker, hey, you talk too much. Right? These are two very good books. Can you go on to the next one? This is a very interesting clip that I got. He describes people in the committee meeting as animals and their behavior. And actually, there are short things here to say what animal represents what type of person and how to deal with them. So it's very important for us to understand even our own committee members, so that when certain things arises, we understand why are they like that and how to handle this type of committee members. As Brother Kelly has mentioned it up, all of us are different. We have different values, we have different ideas, how things should be done, and we must learn to respect everyone's ideas and values and not insist mine is the correct one. This one later, I actually have produced, put it in the folder. Later, I'll pass the folder to Brother Kelly. Then maybe those of you are interested, you can share up. All this not copyrighted. Next one. For management of discussion, have you heard of Albert de Bono? Albert de Bono actually wrote this book, The Six Thinking Hats. And I think it's a wonderful way to discuss with people things you want to do in a meeting, even for people who are in a working environment, not really society only, in your work life, with your family. It talks about all of us wear different hats, and therefore we think differently. And I like you to concentrate, just pay attention to the black hat. The red hat. What the red hat is trying to say is that everybody must have feelings about anything. Let's say we have a project in BMSM. But with some people who agree, some people that don't agree, some people who are neutral. You must allow these people to speak their mind. Never stop people from giving their opinion. But there's another very important hat. Let's go to the white hat. The white hat is, okay, I have heard your objections. I have heard your approval. Give me a reason with facts. So if you say this project cannot be run, now tell me why. With facts, not with emotions. Because I already allow you the emotions. Now talk with facts. Then you also have the black hat. Those people who are objecting to the project and things like that. Give them room to explain, to voice out their objection. Don't think them as, this brother giving trouble. Why always object one? You so pandai, you go and do. We allow all these kind of emotions, negative, positive, to come out. And of course, the last one for every beginning or end of meeting is the blue hat, the one that covers some of the process. Sum up whatever that you all have done. Yellow hat is for creative ideas. Okay, now we say this, what else can we do? So this is a good way to run a meeting. You don't have to always mention the hat, but you can guide people to, okay, can I listen to the negative? Anyone of you have objections? And later only why and all this. So that everybody has a say in the meeting. Next one, please. I have to go very fast. Now, these are the two modules that I prepared for para, but sadly cannot run because we have more teachers than children. All right. We prepared it for teachers actually, but we have more teachers waiting for the students. Sometimes only two students come. So in the end, we have to shelve this project. But this project is modules for children's activity and for teenage activities. What I've done with this module was, for every activity that I will put in the psychology behind it. And what can you achieve from the activity? Can you click on the link, please, for children? Only for children. Okay, can you scroll up a bit? Scroll it up. Okay. You see, even like, for example, I did tangrams. What happens is that we allow the children to play with tangrams. And what is the reason for doing tangrams? The psychology, the objective of playing with tangrams will be there. So you do an activity with a purpose. And can you go up further? Then these are the answers. And then sometimes we do coloring we always color lotus lah, Buddha image lah, and all this. Why not we do something different a bit? And then from there, learn something about it. We can always insert Dharma. I remember in one of our meditation retreat that we went there. Okay, the Bante just said, can you please tell me what can you learn from this cake of soap? And we were like, soap to wash only lah. What else can you do with the soap? For mandi, wash hands, what else? Nothing else, isn't it? Can you imagine? But they could spend 1 hour talking about Dharma with that kid also. And I was like, wow, take also only for 1 hour of Dharma inside. It's no joke, no. It's how you relate the activities to the Dharma. It doesn't have to be directly about Buddhism. So you go on to the next one. This is very true. This is a theme of science. I use it for my training for teachers. Right? Most of the time they go for courses, their project cannot work one. So I said, what for you do a project that cannot work? So I did a demonstration, just hold the flower, put in water, and the flower will expand out. And then you explain science to me. Get them into these type of activities before you introduce the Dharma. And then it's through the activities that sometimes you see their behavior is not in line with good behavior. Then you just tell them, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, or I think you should say this to this. The Dharma is inside them during the activities. When they are selfish, the Dharma is in the action, but not the activity itself. So you don't have to look for exactly must be Dharma again. Look for activities that when they play, when they do, there will be some things that will reflect their behavior, the Dharma knowledge, and then you look for these opportunities to teach. I taught physics in school from 6. But during my physics class, I also taught dating. How to find a good wife, how to find a good husband. And my student look at me, sir, physics time, yeah, now important. All of you are at the age of looking for a boyfriend and girlfriend. Time to talk to you about dating. How to look for a good husband, how to look for a good wife. They were like thinking. I did that in my physics class. And when one time the P came to the hornet came to the classroom, say, okay, today physics stop. Let's learn about these behavior. Opportunities. Because at that time they were afraid of the hornet. So no point teaching them physics because all of them will go, oh, so you might do another screen. So instead of talking about physics, we talk about this behavior of this. But of course, we need to have things that are flexible in order to succeed. Not just stick to one thing. But of course, my students will be worried, so can finish syllabus or not. Not all the top students, they are always like that one. Sir, can finish syllabus or not? I mean, they cannot complain to the headmaster. I have very brave one. I always tell them, you complain to the professor. They won't complain one because no other choice. So they are very no choice. So this Buddhist structure, one whole book by itself, origami on Buddhist structures. Right, so you can actually get this kind of books, learn how to fail. My Orang Asli students love this very much. And when I was teaching the Orang Asli primary school children, they love this a lot. And I taught them language through origami. I don't have to teach ABC, I use origami to teach. Because you don't get their attention, you need them to enjoy what they are doing. So they enjoy this. So you use this to teach language. You have to be flexible. I think you can get out from this. Right? Both of these are for teenagers. Also, I have another one. So I prepared activities with all the psychology, the objective, everything. Free for you all to take. I have no copyright. You see, even Dharma, what talks I have, one Chinese word can be one lecture already. Yeah. I use this word itself to give 1 hour of Dharma talk. Just this word only. I don't know Chinese one. I don't know Chinese. But this one word, I gave 1 hour Dharma talk. Just read it only. You all miss it, read it. Okay, we can get up from this. I still got another 5 minutes. Let's go very quickly. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. You can have videos. I downloaded a lot of these videos. Little Monk series. Use these videos for Sunday school. They're all very short videos, around 10 minutes. Remember, children cannot stay very long in one object. Around 10 minutes, one video, one story, one Dharma. Next one, please. Your Jakarta Tales also, I think altogether there are over 40 videos on Jakarta Tales in YouTube. You can use them to share Jakarta Tales instead of talking, but I prefer storytelling rather than video. Because according to research, storytelling has more impact than showing video. So once in a while you can change. Do not use videos all the while. Because research has shown storytelling increases your brain activity, increases your creative thinking, and it's healthier than video itself. But if you run out of ideas, this can go. Next one, please sit very fast. Now, I'd like to show you something new. This is a song. I like to play this song for you all, and you'll tell me whether you enjoy the song or not. Can you please play the song? Bottom there. Somewhere around here is the... okay. Louder, please.
I close my eyes, I smile and smile. Loving kindness is my guide. May you be happy, may you be well, may you be peaceful, my heart can tell. You are far, big or small. Loving kindness is for first for me, a checklist day. May I be happy every day. May I be safe. May I be calm and joy-filled. I know
You stop it, please. Do you find the song soothing? Do you find the song meaningful? Yes. Guess how this song was done? AI generated. I asked ChatGPT, please produce a children's song in 3 minutes and easy to sing, based on the topic of learning kindness. I just typed that in, and this was the song it produced. All the lyrics, ChatGPT, not by me, ChatGPT. Of course, ChatGPT can't give you the song, but they can give you the chords. You can ask, can you please give me the chords to this song? And they'll produce all the chords for it, for you to play with guitar or piano. They'll produce the chord. I did something else. Can you go to the next one? Please make it do an action song. So you produce, okay, I sit so still with my breathing slow, the hands at the belly, very slowly breathe through the nose. It even created the action for the song itself. So I didn't put all, I just put a few for you all to see. So let's be creative. Write songs, you don't have to be like me, I'm not a songwriter, but I asked ChatGPT to help me to write a song. This is the topic. I did one for 8 Noble Path, but I made a mistake. I said, can you please do a song on the Noble Eightfold Path? Chant-like song. And guess what they produced? A Gregorian chant. It was a Gregorian, the chant that the fathers in the church were singing. Right? So it became a Gregorian chant instead of a Buddhist chant. So I didn't specify I want a Buddhist chant. So you can actually use ChatGPT or whatever you have, whatever AI instruments you have to create things. If you want ideas, I want a children's activity for 5 minutes based on this, based on this physical things that I want. ChatGPT will produce it for you. You don't have to think very hard on your own. I know this, but if you don't like, you just change a bit, adapt a little bit, because not everything in ChatGPT is correct one. Right? When I was doing my research on Buddha's leadership and teaching skills, ChatGPT notebook will give me different sutta quotation. And then when I check from the suttas, not correct. So you have to also be very careful when you look into these references, whether they are accurate or not. But at least Nobu will tell you, please double check. Right? But ChatGPT doesn't tell you, they just give you only, right? So you can use all these to actually help you to run your activities. Let's go to the next one. For children, I think it's very important. We did this in some of the Buddhist society. Teach them how to study effectively. One of my policies when I was teaching physics was, first 2 weeks of lesson, I only taught them how to study physics properly. I don't teach physics. Because no matter how hardworking a child is, if they use the wrong method to study, they won't be very successful. They must learn how to study correctly. It's not about how much hours you put in your revision, but it's how effective the number of hours you put in your revision. So we can organize courses like these, learning styles, multiple intelligence, mind mapping. I did this mind mapping to Buddhist society. I also did it in Buddhist society. And the adults that attended, the parents that attended, actually took it and adopted it in their office. We found it so effective. And one of the students that I coached in mind mapping, she used to fail in her biology, did very badly in her biology. After using this all the time, she was scoring distinction already. So you have to give this kind of activities to the students, to young people, because they need this for career and guidance. In IBDA, BMSM Para, we did a career guidance talk. But we didn't invite doctors, lawyers, engineers, because not everybody can become doctors, lawyers, engineers. We invited people who are aircon repairers and things like that, because there are many other jobs besides lawyers, doctors, engineers. Right? These are for the top students. You don't tell them also they know what to write there. But the people that we really require counseling are not the top students. They are the people that, we always call them the C-level type of people. Go up also cannot, go down also cannot. These are the people that really need a lot of help. It would be good if Buddhist society can organize things to help these people. I know my students in Suntec last time, the weak students, the naughty students, they are not good in their academic, but when we ask them what they wanted in their life, you know what they told us? Sir, 我想做一個廚師，Sir， 我想 repair motor，我想開一個激店。It's not they don't have ambitions, but their ambitions are not academic. Want to open a cake shop lah, want to become a cook lah, want to become a mechanic lah. So if you organize career guidance talk based on this type of activities, let them know you have other avenues to go. Or the one that we had recently was how to apply to go to the university. We know there are methods to apply to go to university. Teach them the right method, because choosing the wrong U as a first choice can make you got rejected. And you must know the quality. I think recently we had one student, straight A, SPBM cannot go into university, and it came out in the papers. Later we found out because his result was on par with other people, but he lost out because of his SPM. So it was not because of his STPM he lost out. He lost out because of the SPM. So if the students are aware of all this, you are actually helping them through the Buddhist society. I think the next one will be the last one maybe. So career planning, all this I've done. Job interviews. Many of you are in the corporate world. Help them to learn how to face a job interview. How to help them to face, how to apply for scholarship, how to go for scholarship interviews. These are all important things to the youth. Help them learn all these things. There are teachers, there are corporate members who can help them do all this. And these are the things that will attract the youth first, because you help them in their life. So that then we need to talk about Dharma, don't talk about Dharma first. Okay, we need all these activities to help our society, the youth to grow, our society to grow, and make it not only meaningful in terms of Dharma, but in terms of their life, in terms of their career, in terms of their family life. This is all important things. So I hope I have given enough input. I hope there's something that I have shared that are fruitful to you all. Thank you very much. Now I call upon